Yes, we welcome back to another episode of That Gonna Talk, and we're here to preview the big London derby as Arsenal take on Palace at home at the Emirates. Second game in a row at the Emirates, coming off the back of a massive win against Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. Looking to keep the Premier League run alive, but before we get into any of the details about Arsenal, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to not only Gunner Street but Cape House Plaza. We're both on the road to 2K subs, so all your love and support is definitely appreciated. With the like and a comment down below, people. Show your love and support to both channels. But KP, talk to me, my brother. South London Derby. You are literally in London, from London. Tell me what your feelings going into this game. Do you have any Palace fans around you? How is the banter between Palace fans? How is it in the build up to a London rivalry like this game?
Yeah, I'm from South London. I don't really know that many Palace fans. Obviously, I think it's more people that are local that live around Crystal Palace that support Palace. Obviously, I like the club, but it's not the same as like if it was a North London derby or when we face Chelsea, for example. I've got a lot of Chelsea friends, but it's still London derby, still something that you want to win. Like, I think Arsenal have done well in their derbies, London derbies, in the last couple of years, of course. But ultimately, it was a result that we dropped points in last season. I was at that game as well, as I've said it many times, and I want us to rectify that because I was very disappointed with what I watched in that game last year. And obviously, given the momentum this year, like, I want us to beat Palace. Man, Palace are a good team. They started the season well. They're playing in Europe, so I think it's an important result. I think we've done well to beat the teams that we kind of dropped points against last season in the last 3 games. Funny enough, West Ham, Newcastle, and Fulham. So obviously, this is another one of those. So if we can get the similar type of result. What about you? How do you feel about this game coming up?
Like you, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Palace. They have been playing brilliant football up until recently. I think they tied against Bournemouth. That was a thrilling 3-3 game. That was brilliant football all the way around. But they were on like an 18 game win streak or 18 game undefeated streak. They were on a mad run. So Palace have been playing really good football since the back end of last season. You talked about it when we dropped points to them. They're a really, really good team, a team that can threaten, that we've seen. I mean, we have their best player from last season, Eza, but that doesn't still mean they don't carry threat. Munoz from right back is still a good threat. He's been one of the standout right backs this season for the Premier League. You still have Mateta, who's still bagging the goals. He scored a hat trick and should have had 4 or 5 in that Bournemouth game. He's still looking like he's going to be on form. And they have Yermi Pino came in from La Liga. So Palace are a team that have been growing over the last couple of years. They've been developing really well under Glasner. 2 trophies last season. Well, if you really count in the Community Shield. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a difficult game. But I expect, like you said, momentum is with us. We are at home, and I'm expecting us to pick up a win. So you kind of see where we're coming from that stance, people. But KP, just going into this game, we're coming off the back of a massive, massive win against Atletico Madrid. A lot of standout players in that performance. I thought Moses Skelly had a great game. We're gonna get into that conversation to see where does he fit into this team. But your boy Martinelli, another standout performance. A lot of people online were saying he was the man of the match for that game. Defensive contributions was really strong. Got his goal in the end from a lovely assist from Lewis Skelly. What do you think about Martinelli's performance, and ultimately, what do you think about this game coming up soon?
Yeah, the Atletico game was a big game, big result against a big opposition. I think the boys played well, as you said, multiple performances. Like Lewis Skelly, I thought being out the cold had a good performance. I think Martinelli, especially in the second half. I think like in the first half it was Saka's performance. I think Saka was definitely our best player in the first half, absolutely tearing the fullback, and then Martinelli was the star of the second half in the sense of like he was very, very good. Obviously, not only him, Zubimendi had a very, very amazing game. So did Gabriel. So did the likes of Timber. Gokras getting his brace and also his performance as well. So it's encouraging to see that like multiple players are performing well and playing well. Obviously, Martinelli, as you know, I've always had affiliation of him, and he's been effective when he comes on. I think he's in a good momentum right now. You can tell he's confident. The finish was taken brilliantly, Thierry Henry-esque, and that only comes from when a matter of confidence, a matter of trusting yourself, a matter of being in form, and that competition essentially that we have in our squad where no one's position is certified. No one's position is certified, even if you're out of form. So I think everyone's pushing, and this is what we need. And I think going into these games, that especially the games that you can call the tougher games in the Premier League, not like your big 6 games, but the tougher ones, I think we can have a bit more confidence with what this competition is doing and driving his team, the confidence, the winning momentum. It's given me confidence for this team and for this game and for every game really. But definitely in this moment we're in now, I feel like the vibes are good, the football is good, the defensive solidity is great, and you can't see how that necessarily changes. So like yeah, like I feel it's nice when the whole team is flowing, and this is without some key players as well. So that gives me a lot of encouragement. If this was this time last season and we went through some of the things we've gone through, I feel like a lot of things would have been different. So yeah, man, it's good. I think we are going to win this game as well on Sunday.
Yep,
What about you?
and you talked about it. I think this game on Sunday, I think we're playing the best football we've ever played. The momentum, like you talked about, is with us. I think more so than ever, we've found a way to get past the low block teams, and you kind of touched on it, like the Fulhams. West Ham was a difficult. These are difficult results from last season, and we've so far this season managed to turn those results, draws last season, into wins. This game last season, we like you said, ultimately we drew, but that was at the back end of last season. Our focus was more on the Champions League around that time, but it's still points dropped at home, so we still have to put the result right. But looking forward now to the rest of our games in this run, KP. I know you talked about going 7 from 7 in this run. I know putting with those 2 games behind us, Fulham away and Atletico Madrid, probably the most 2 difficult games on paper. You probably say you have to look at it and say maybe this is the chance where if we end this run and Liverpool drop more points in the league, we continue to hit our stride in the league as well. I think it's gonna be very, very dangerous for teams across Europe, not even just in the Premier League, to see the momentum Arsenal are picking up and how they're blazing through in all competitions right now. We have Bournemouth again coming up in the cup. That's another home game, so some home games on the bones to kind of get the momentum before we go away to Slavia Prague. So I'm looking,
Brighton,
yep,
Brighton.
Brighton, yep. So I'm looking forward to these games. I'm looking forward to the game against Palace, the game against Brighton. But again, what I'm mainly looking for is to continue to see us building momentum and scoring goals from open play, because people say we're boring, we can only score from set pieces. I don't think people give this team a lot of credit when it comes to that. Like, it's not easy when we're going up against a scrappy game like Fulham. Yeah, you have a few half chances here, but ultimately set pieces win you games. If you could score them and you could use them, you don't think every team in the league would do that? I mean, we've mastered it. We've looked. We have that cheat code, if you want to say, that unlocks teams and unlocks games, and that's what unlocked the Atletico game. So listen, man, I think this is one of the key reasons as to why I think we're not only favorites for this league title, but the momentum is building. And I'm trying to build this. I'm really trying to see how big we can build this gap going into this next international break. But KP, I want to ask you one more question. Is there anybody from the Atletico Madrid game that made any like calls to start in this game? Because the lineup over the last couple of games kind of been picking itself based on form. We've seen obviously the two center backs, Gabriel and Saliba, even though we have some injury news coming up soon about Gabriel might not be playing this game. He's a doubt, as Arteta City came off with a little bit of a knock. So we'll see what happens there with Gabriel. We're gonna discuss it soon. Is there anyone that you think could possibly earn their a shout to start at the weekend?
I think we might as well mix the lineup with this talk as well. Like I think obviously it was only 2 players that obviously came into the lineup that wasn't starting, which is Martinelli and Lewis Skelly, and they both, in my opinion, played well, state their claim for Mikel. I think as many players have been doing, Mascara when he's been in the team, so as Trossard, Martinelli coming off the bench has been effective. Marino has had very good performances for us as well, and Lewis Skelly when he has played. So it's interesting to see. I think as I'll share the screen, a big call is I think because Trossard, and I think it was Trossard and what's it called? Trossard and Calafiori didn't start, and they didn't play any minutes. So part of me is thinking, do they end up like playing? Because at the end of the day, you see with with Mikel, you know how he does things. I think they didn't get complete rest.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like we see multiple times like Martinelli play well, be effective off the bench this season, and not
Mm,
necessarily get the start in the next game. We saw
yeah.
Trossard play well or not play well, but he was effective and got the goal on
Okay.
Saturday,
He,
and
get,
he didn't get
he
the
got the goal,
minutes.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see like what happens. I would say, but nevertheless, I think it's 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 more dependent on how Mikel wants to take this game to Palace. Like, does he think Palace are going to give us? Are they going to give us space and behind the way
Mm.
maybe Fulham and Atletico does, and you want to use Martinelli, or are they going to play a bit more of a low block and Trossard goes in there? And with obviously if Gabriel isn't fit, I think it opens up a question: do you just shift Calafiori inside, put Lewis Kelly in since he has had a good games in momentum, or do you bring Mascara in as he done on the midweek when he took Gabriel off and put Mascara in that position and kind of keep the left back the same? I don't know what you think, bro, but I think Calafiori and Lewis Kelly keep their position, and I have a feeling Gabriel probably plays because
Wow.
Mikel said he didn't rule it out. He said he will see in the next 24 hours if he has trained, but he said he hasn't trained yet. So I, I don't know. It's just because it's a difficult one to
That's
call.
interesting. That's interesting to hear that perspective because my initial thinking when I heard that was he's a dope. He didn't. I know he didn't rule it out, but I just feel like with us having Nkapia, yes, he came back from injury. He hasn't started the game. He hasn't even played any minutes, but he's came back from injury. You also have Calafiori who could play there. You have Mascara, like you said, who came off the bench for him. I just think there's bodies there that if there's any kind of worry with Gabriel, who has been probably one of our arguably pound for pound our most important player this season, I don't think I don't think you want to risk that, especially this early in the season, especially when you have the guys who've shown you they could cover there. So for me, if I was Arteta, just putting it like this, if I was Arteta, I'd probably lean Mascara and I'd maybe go Calafiori left back, just because of the fact that I know we could talk about Calafiori maybe coming in at left centre back, which he's going to be solid and he can play there. But when you have a guy like Mascara who stepped in and played well and who's had partnerships next to Saliba and had partnerships next to Gabriel and has already stepped in at some of the biggest grounds and some of the toughest grounds and shown he can handle it, I don't see why you don't play him in against Palace at home, especially when you've seen him in tougher games and he stood up to the task. It's going to be a difficult task against Mateta, so they're definitely going to have to communicate there. They're also Saliba's experienced a top center back in the world, but they're also younger guys as well. Mateta is an experienced striker, so it's going to be like kind of a baptism of fire and learning how to deal with that kind of strength and bullying, I guess. But again, Mascara, he's a top quality center back on the ball. He's brilliant. His reading of the game is brilliant, and his aggressive and tenacious physical ability doesn't really fill me with any worries in terms of dealing with the physical aspect of Mateta. And
Yeah,
then
I
for
agree with
left
you,
back,
bro.
I just want to keep Calafiori, who's been playing well in the position he's been playing well in. If the team has a kind of a rhythm, guys are kind of finding their form. And this is probably the longest we've had Calafiori fit in his whole Arsenal tenure. And he's playing well. He should have had a goal at Fulham. I thought it was a wonderful finish. We've seen that ability from him. And yeah, man. So I think those are the two guys I'd go with. So it seems like you agree since you have them in the team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if Gabriel is not fit, I think um, Mascara comes in. I think not that I wouldn't mind the Calafiori Lewis Skelly hit because that can give you some different options in terms of maybe inverting Calafiori at times from the centre back position, Lewis Skelly tucking in, or vice versa, which kind of caused some confusion as well. But
Yeah.
I think I think Mikel always plays his hand. I think given that he brought Mascara on and not necessarily Calafiori on the week on midweek, I think Mascara's kind of been out the limelight a couple of weeks since the Newcastle game when he got subbed off. He hasn't necessarily played that many minutes. Obviously, we've only had Premier League games and obviously Champions League important fixtures. But I think he started off the season so well. We were talking about when Saliba was out, like not necessarily rushing Saliba back because of how good he's playing. So I'm confident. He's an experienced player. He's played already this season against Voltmada starting at Newcastle, played against Ekitike and Isak. Oh no, sorry, Ekitike at the beginning of the season as well.
Yeah.
So it's he's faced some good strikers. So I'm confident that he can do the job. And I think by default, because I was talking about this in the stream, I think I think the left wing and left back come in pairs. I think because of the type of player
Trossard is.
like Barry is, where he's more of a overlapper, more of a up and down player. He does invert a lot of times, but his play style is more underlap, overlap. I think it suits Trossard more when he tucks inside and can be in. And I think there's no coincidence why Lewis Kelly and Martinelli play well together. Why Lewis Kelly assisted Martinelli because of his play style, inverting, being able to draw players in the middle and the left back with his carries, and then that gives space and frees up space for Martinelli. Plus, just the way Martinelli is more of a touchline winger than Trossard in the way that we use him and his natural pace and system. I think it works with Lewis Kelly inverting so much as a centre midfielder. So I think this will probably be the lineup if Gabriel's not fit, and obviously Gabriel's fit. I'm pretty sure Gabriel slips in, and it'll probably be the same lineup that we've been seeing starting in the Premier League
So
so far.
I want to hear what you think, because we both watched the game in the watch along on at the weekend, and we saw Trossard not have the best performance overall, but he did manage to get the goal. I mean, does that fill you with any confidence? Maybe that attacking wise, it might be a little bit of a hindrance, because I remember even the Man City game. Yeah, we were good on the ball at periods, but we didn't create a lot of clear cut chances. Is there any kind of chance creation concern there for you?
No, not
With
really. Like
that left hand side?
Trossard's a good player. He's probably the second player in our assist this season behind. I don't know
Yeah,
who's first, but
third
he's
third
got.
most goals as well.
So like, I'm not really worried about that. Again, like I'm not harsh on these players or winning games. If a player doesn't have the best of performances or up to his level, I'm not really so harsh. Like Eze wasn't the most inspiring midweek. He was great in the first half, but it was kind of quiet second half. But that's not going to make me now not want to play him, because I feel like every game is different.
Yeah.
In Trossard's case, he scored. He didn't play the best, but he scored. Didn't come on the weekend and didn't play any minutes. Whether that was agreed beforehand or it was just Mikel managing the squad, I'm pretty sure Trossard will be expecting to start. Will have wanted to play midweek, and obviously he will probably be given his start and be effective. Obviously, we're at home. Trossard does perform well at home, as well he does perform well away. But I think players that are bringing you goals are always effective, because we need guys that are able to take chances, and chances sometimes open up games, sometimes allow us to kind of go on that run. And he's a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I think the competition that Trossard and Martinelli are driving in that left wing position is only going to bode well for us, because it's going to enable us to like continue pushing them. I think Martinelli would have probably hoped to push that start, but maybe Trossard gets it when Martinelli plays midweek against Brighton. He might play again, score a brace or so, and then that gives Mikel a good question going into the Burnley game on the weekend. Who do I play now? Martinelli's had 2 good performances in a row, stuff like that. Same thing with Lewis Kelly. So I think I'm not really worried about like Trossard. It's the same reason why I wasn't so worried about Gyökeres when he wasn't scoring, is because the team is playing well. Trossard is doing things well. So even if you have a poorish game, I'm pretty sure you can cover it. And there's been a lot of games this season where Trossard has been excellent. Whether he's coming on or he's starting. So
yeah. I hear it. Absolutely.
I just wanted to go through. I don't know if you want to just tactically how Palace might set us up and what we can do to potentially nullify them if we do play this lineup. I don't know what you think.
Well, from their perspective, I don't find them. I don't think they're gonna sit deep. I think they're gonna kind of take the game to us. I think they're gonna manage the game. They're gonna play it smart. Glasner can do that, but he also can sit back. I think they might, maybe to start first 15 minutes, might weather the storm, just seeing that Arsenal are gonna look to dominate the game and look to dominate majority of possession and pitch control. But it'd be really interesting to see how we really play our style of football. I'm really interested to see Zubamendi and Rice through the pockets of space, especially if they play that mid-block area. Zubamendi has been really brilliant in terms of his overall play. We haven't really had that. We talked about it, and others have mentioned it. That real one person sitting has been more of a dynamic combination of the two. So it's really gonna be an interesting one. What do you think about how Palace are gonna set up and try to attack us?
I agree. Palace don't really play like a low block. They do sit deep. They do have great discipline and shape, but I think they're another like mid-block-ish team that kind of have compacted space, but they do press up high. They do try to take the game and the attacking moments. In our history against Palace, obviously especially against, I think that we've had some good performances, especially the Carabao Cup game last season, the away fixture at their ground. Yeah. Palace kind of play open. They don't play just so low block. I think they try to be expansive at times, and that can be at their own detriment. It will be interesting to see how Glasgow sets them up on Sunday. Obviously, they're off the back of that Europa League loss, and obviously that draw against Bournemouth, where I think they were down 2-0 or 3-0, if I'm correct. So
Yeah, they were down two. I think they were down 2-0. Yeah.
definitely 2-0. I don't know, it was 3-0. So it'd be interesting. But they normally play this 3-4-3 shape. Obviously, they front three, Mateta, Pino, and Sarr. And if we were playing this team, I think the main thing that we will have to do is try and um, draw their fullbacks, their wing backs up, so that we can still get 1v1s and find Saka in
Yeah.
spaces and trust other spaces. Obviously, not going to be easy because more than likely Arsenal going to dominate the ball. They're going to probably drop into these spaces to make a five at the back. But I don't know how they play. Normally they play. I don't know if Sarr has the work rate to kind of drop back, or they kind of leave it as a 5-4-1, or they kind of still press up. I think Arsenal. It will be a big game for Eze. Obviously, we spoke about him. Obviously, his old team. He has affiliation to them. I think like this is the game that he can kind of come out and want to have a similar to Rice when he plays West Ham a lot, like where he scores a goal, has a good performance. I think I'm expecting and hoping Eze has the same thing. I think Calafiori will allow Trossard to get more 1v1 because he will be up and down. And I think with Timber's new role, where he seems to be up and down and kind of covering that space,
Yeah.
as you said, with the way the midfield operates, with Rice or Zubamendi kind of jumping up and down and rotating, I think that can cause some confusion for Mateta or Pino who are trying to press us. I think a main difference this game, if Mascara is the one that's playing,
Yeah.
obviously we will be missing Gabriel's threat from set pieces that we have been seen to play for many years, and obviously he has been this season so far. But I think Mascara adds a ball playing sense that I think will be well. Like he
Yeah.
knows how to kind of
Just put on the ball.
delay passes and wait for the press and then play the release at the right moment. I think he does play well with Zubamendi as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of release Calafiori into these spaces with kind of passes here, kind of get him running on in behind the defense where the defender has to get drawn out. Maybe you can see a Gokeres run. I think ultimately it's just about how Arsenal stretch the pitch out to stretch that 3-4-3 and see if Palace do make it a five at the back when they're defending, which they probably will, or if Arsenal can keep them at that 3-4. And how Arsenal play? Do Arsenal try and draw them into press so that they can stay in that formation and then we can kind of attack them with the big spaces, or do we dominate and pin them back in, make them a 5-4-1, and then from there can we get some good crosses in? Can we get some good shots? I think Eze, it will be a big game for me. I see an Eze goal happening. I don't know about you, bro.
No, that was interesting because I did want to touch on Eze. I was gonna ask. We saw against Atletico Madrid. We saw against Fulham in the last two games. We kind of played like those mid block teams, and Eze, he's had moments, but it's been hard for him to get on the ball and really show his creativity because the teams he played against, they're so compact, especially in those spaces he likes to pick up in the midfield. Do you find it? Do you think you say he's gonna get a goal? I mean, if he does get a goal and he does perform, that will show like not only the evolution of as a player, even so far, just learning different things and getting better at those things for the Arsenal. But I think it's gonna be another difficult one for him. So if he does have a lot of free time and space, it's going to be at top of the box. I remember against Newcastle, he had a lot of shots at the top of the box once he were creating those 1v1s and those overloads. He was finding himself on the edge of the box, getting onto those ends of crosses that Saka was putting in. Or that were coming in the box from Timber or whoever. So if Eze does get a goal, I kind of see it like that. I think on the ball it's gonna be it's gonna be pretty difficult for him unless he kind of drops out and does what Odegaard does and kind of drops off the line to kind of receive those balls and then kind of play around and kind of work his way into the game to get touches from it. But normally he's a guy that likes to wait for the ball in certain spaces, receive it, and kind of make things happen that way. So it'd be very interesting to see how not only how we set up, but how guys approach the game. Because, like for example, as I used, he's had some difficult times going up against mid blocks and how they compact, especially on our creativity in that space. So it's very good to see how we not only build around him and play around him, but how him and Gyökeres work together and how the overall team flows together. But like you talked about, overloading those spaces and getting Saka 1v1, getting Trossard 1v1, and creating those overloads is going to be key, especially if they're end up sitting in the mid block or sitting in the low block to kind of deny those.
It just depends on what Palace want to do. If they want to press us and we can kind of bait them into pressing us through our build up. Because what I realize, why I don't get so frustrated at Arsenal moving the ball slowly around the back initially in games, because I feel like we're trying to test to see if teams are going to try press our centre backs, or are they going to let that first phase have the ball. 9 times out of 10 teams just let out the first phase have the ball because they don't want to open up. So it'll be interesting to see Palace do try press us or initially, or try to take the game to us.
Yeah,
And then how do we react off that? And if they don't, then does Eze get those faces? I think it will be a big game for Zubamendi, as I said, like because they play
absolutely,
five at the back, there will be
absolutely.
a bit less bodies in the midfield. So what spaces does he pick up to kind of allow Eze, and how can he find Eze within those tight spaces? But as I said, it's a big game. Eze would have marked this one on his calendar as a home game as well. He's going to want to probably be a game winner, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to bring a bigger performance. So yeah, he might be doing more things than he might not have been recently because of the fact that he wants to kind of be
Just
effective.
that little bit of incentive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes
Yeah,
sense. Makes sense.
but I think like as I'm confident Arsenal can put the team away. Obviously, Palace will be coming as a wounded animal. Their form has kind of hit a stone wall since they've lost that game. I think it was I can't remember they lost their unbeaten run, and then since then they've kind of drawn,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. I can't remember who they lost on beaten run to
Arsenal need to just
specifically.
continue to be confident. We're going to be at home. It's going to be an early kickoff on the Sunday. We've got to just show what we've been doing and, try to get early goal and put Palace away. I think we'll have opportunities. And we have been making opportunities against almost every team we've been playing against recently. So I'm confident we can create chances. It's now whether we can put the chances away. And then what do we react to that once we put one away if we do?
Yeah,
Um,
it was Everton. It was Everton that they lost the
yeah, I was
unbeaten
remembering
run
there was a
to.
game. So, yeah, like we can beat them. And I expect us to beat them. What's
Yeah,
your score predictions for this one, bro?
3-0 Arsenal. If Gabriel doesn't play, I mean, like I said, it'd be a big test for Mascara and Saliba. I mean, we've seen that partnership a little bit, but again, Mateta is an experienced striker. He has the ability to be caught out David Raya with a brilliant, lovely effort last season in the same fixture. So I think Mateta might be able to give us a little bit of headache, but again, nothing that I don't think we've seen before, or nothing that Mascara hasn't seen before, can't deal with, especially William Saliba. I think going forward, I think once we get a goal, like against Atletico Madrid, once we get our goal, I think we're gonna put the team to the sword, and I think that's kind of what we've been building to. First game back from international break, you went away from home. It was difficult to create chances against Fulham. Okay, cool. Come back, game of the Champions League at home. You get a set piece to unlock it. You break the tie. I think on Sunday, I think you're gonna see a really good intensity from Arsenal. You're gonna see guys wanting to continue their form. Saka, I know he's kind of gutted that he hasn't got a goal or assist in these two games, and he's been absolutely brilliant over these last two games. So he's gonna be looking to get something on the score sheet. Jokeres is gonna look to continue to get his name on the score sheet. And again, Trossard has something to prove. So the whole front line has something to prove. The midfields, we all talked about their importance and their role into this game and helping this team get the result. So yeah, man, I see 3-0. And if I'll give score predictions, I'll say Saka has one. I say Jokeres has one as well. And I'll go Declan Rice with the goal.
I think I'm gonna go with. I was saying 3-0, but I might even go +1. I say 4-0 Arsenal. I say
Wow.
I've
Okay,
been,
4-0.
I've been,
Two
I've been
two 4-0s is craziness though.
humble in my predictions. Obviously, going 3-0, we'll be going 2-0, but I think we can have another big game. I think the team is in a good moment right now, and I think Palace tend to kind of open up a little bit because they trust themselves to kind of score goals. I
Yeah.
think to argue, I think yeah, Mateta is a threat, but I think you have to cut his supply. And I think the way
Mhm.
Arsenal press and the way we defend, obviously he is a physical guy, so he can do well back to goal. Trying to wrestle Saliba or Mascara or Gabriel, whoever starts. But I think ultimately, with what we have around us, we can clean up and make it easier. So yeah, Eze goal, Saka goal, Gokras goal, and maybe Martinelli off the bench for the fourth is what I would
Hey,
take. So
hey.
that's what we'll say, man.
One
But
thing I'll give credit to Zubamendi and Rice in that Atletico Madrid game. They were tenacious in everything they were doing. They were winning the ball back at will, especially Zubamendi. Up until that card, Atletico Madrid were getting no joy. Even after the card, yeah, they started to grow into the game. But after we got our goal into it, Zubamendi was bossing the game fresh again. So we'll be
yeah,
we'll be fine, man. We'll be fine. So I
we'll
say
be
3
fine.
Arsenal.
And
3
I'm
0
happy
Arsenal.
that just before we end, I'm happy that Zubamendi has like shown this off the ball ability and this snappiness in tackles,
Yeah,
aggressiveness, the aerial drills. I think it bodes well because he's seamlessly come into the team and definitely improved us, elevated us, and adapted to the league very well. Like, so I've got to give him a big shout out just at
absolutely.
the last minute. And hopefully he has another great game like he had against Atletico on Sunday.
Yep. Yes, people. But these are our predictions. This is the preview for Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. If you like anything Arsenal related, don't forget to subscribe to both of our channels, Gunner Street and K Pass Puzzle. We're both on the road to 2K subs. So if you like anything Arsenal related, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the family. Leave down below your predictions for the Arsenal versus Palace game. Who do you think is going to score? Who do you think is going to win the game? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below, people. But yes, without further ado, thank you for your love and support. And I'll catch you
Catch you
guys
guys on the
on
next one.
next one. Peace.
Peace.